The thing is, I don't worry about my Jeep Gladiator like I do my other two trucks. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Automotive JT. You know, I'm out cruising around. Actually, just came from the hospital. Had to do a little bloodletting this morning. New doctor requirement, nothing wrong. Well, we're going to find out anyway, but nothing that I'm aware of, just a routine thing. But anyway, you know, the thing is, I don't worry about my Jeep Gladiator like my other two trucks. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. But before I do, I'm going to apologize for the quality of this video before we go any further. Because you see, it's allergy season apparently, and I have been inflicted with allergy symptoms. So if I'm sniffing and snorting while we're doing this video, then that's why. It's been a miserable last couple of days. But anyway, why don't I care about my Jeep Gladiator as much as I do my others? Well, there's a few reasons actually. One, I worry more about the other two when I take them places. Like if I'm gonna park them somewhere, like this morning when I went to the hospital. I also had to go to the UPS store, had to return a mod for the Santa Cruz because it just didn't fit. But I take the Gladiator because I'm not afraid to park at places. You know, like at the hospital this morning, it's always packed at any hospital. I hate going to hospitals. I rarely go unless I had to go for something like this morning. But I don't worry about parking it there like I do my others. And I know it's going to be crowded. People are going to surround me. And sure enough, when I came out after this, there was a great big giant truck parked beside me. In my opinion, too close to me by about a little bit. Not bad. She did a good job of parking, but she was just a little bit too close. Fortunately for me, I think it's the only vehicle that parked next to me while I was there. The appointment was at like 7:30 this morning. So I got out of there just as she was starting to open her door, and she paused because she knew I was backing out, and because she was a little close. She could see that she's going to have trouble getting out of that truck because she parked too close to my Jeep Gladiator. So that's one reason. I also feel it's crazy because it's relatively new to me anyway. I mean, I've had this one about a year or so, but I feel like it's more rugged. And it is more rugged in appearance looking. I mean, it's a Jeep. It looks like it's tough. It's rugged. And when I look at my other ones, particularly my new Santa Cruz, I think they're a little more delicate, you know? It's a crazy reason, I guess, to think that way, but I do. So I don't worry as much about the Gladiator when I'm going to take it places and have it parked. The other thing, there's another thing, I had to take the freeway this morning. And down here in South Texas, there are a lot of stones and things on the road. So I always worry about cracked windshields. Now, I think, and I could be wrong, that the Jeep Gladiator windshield, because of its size, it's relatively simple. It's basically a little bit of a curve, although there's not much to it, but a rectangle of glass. So it's got to be cheaper to replace if I get any stones hitting the windshield. So generally, when I'm going to be on the freeway, got to take a sip of the sweet tea. There we go. So when I'm on the freeway, or going to be taking the freeway, I feel more at ease, I guess, that if anything does happen, and when I tell you this about the windshields, you know, when you go somewhere, I would say probably 80 to 90% of the windshields you see on cars in the parking lots are chipped or cracked. That's how bad it is. But I feel a little more at ease when I'm taking the Gladiator on the freeway because I know if something happens, it's not going to cost me quite as much to fix as it would if I was in one of my other two trucks. The other being the Toyota Tacoma, by the way, if you're new or not familiar with me or the channels. I have 3 channels. This one, Rob Motive and Rob Motive MT. So, the other thing is it's the easiest to get in and out of. You know, it's at the right height. I can just kind of step in, I can kind of step out. I don't have it lifted. I have taller tires by a little bit, but that's really about it. The opening's nice and big for me to get in and out of, and these are trivial things. I mean, I don't want you to think that another Gladiator just drove by. Well, I don't want you to not think that, but I'm starting to see a lot more Gladiators on the road. I love it. But it's easier to get out of, it's more comfortable, and the sight lines are better. As far as visibility, I guess, out of the truck. I don't have as many blockages. You know, in the Santa Cruz, there's a bigger, what seems to be a bigger area between the front and the back, and then the pillars on each side in the far back are bigger. So there are more blind spots in it. And when I'm going to be on the freeway, you know, dodging traffic, because here, that's how it is when you drive on the freeways. You're in and out, people are jutting in and out. You know, I was getting off the freeway today and going to, I guess, a straight lane. There's 3 lanes, and there's a Spectrum truck. And I'll tell you what, he cuts right in front of me because he was in the wrong lane. He was in the lane to turn left. He wanted to go straight. He juts right in front of me. And I thought, what are you doing? But anyway, I feel like it's easier to drive when visibility is important. And not that visibility isn't important every time you drive, but when you're on the freeways and you know you're going to be subjected to aggressive, crazy drivers, it's best to have the best sight, I guess, that you can get out of any vehicle that you're driving. The other thing is the comfort. You know, it's very comfortable to drive this truck. I've mentioned before on the channel about the seats, how comfortable they are. And you know, when you're going to have this done, you want to be comfortable when you're out. I know it's not that big a deal, but I have a queasy stomach. I'm one that always has to look away, you know, when you're giving blood and stuff like that. You know, years ago, I went in, and I think it's the first time, the only time maybe, I ever gave blood. And when I was done, I had to sit down for a while because I felt like I was going to pass out. All in your head, you know? I hate to see my own blood, and that's the thing. It's always my own. When it's someone else's or a TV or things like that, doesn't really bother me. But when you're dealing with your own, it gets me a little bit queasy. So anyway, those are the few reasons why I guess I just don't worry about my Jeep Gladiator. You know, I have 2 other perfectly fine trucks I can drive, and I love driving them, but I just don't want to put them into situations where they're more likely to be damaged. I don't want to leave them alone in parking spots, and I don't want to drive them on the freeways because I don't want them to get hurt. So I guess the Jeep Gladiator is the tough guy of my stable. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know. Do you have a Gladiator that maybe you choose something else to drive because you don't want to leave it parked somewhere, or maybe you don't take it on the freeways because you're afraid of chips if you live in an area like me, or some other vehicle that you do the same thing with? I'd be curious to know. Maybe I'm just the crazy one. Also, again, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about the Toyota Tacoma, and Rob Motive MT, all about mini trucks. In this case, the 2022 Hyundai Santa Cruz. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Keep your Gladiator safe out there. Bye.